I'm Rick Howard, president of Kingdom Magic Vacations. In my job, I get to travel a lot. I explore the world on land and sea, eating in unique restaurants and discovering interesting locations. I'm always looking for new places to visit, and I want you to travel with me. Welcome to Travel with Rick. Well, hey guys, welcome to this week's show. We've got a great show lined up for you because we're going to be talking about a great place that we visited this
absolutely.
year. Right, John?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Guys, you know John here. He's usually on that side of the camera. Today you're on this side of the camera, dude.
It's one of those rare opportunities I get to come out and say hi to everybody.
Nice. Well, hi, everybody. Well, listen, we're here in Key West, Florida, but we're not talking about Key West. We're talking about a city kind of similar to Key West, though. One of our first road trips. This is one of our continuing road trips now. We're here, as I mentioned, in Key West. This is a really cool road trip we're in the middle of, right?
Cool as in awesome. Cool is not, it's hot.
It's
middle of July.
the way my friend John, who lives here, not this John, my friend John Jaworski described it, I can't say on camera, but it's hot. It's very really hot here. John may let it slip in one of the episodes coming up, but not to give you too much of a spoiler alert, look for some of these really cool Key West episodes coming to a TWR blog near you, I can promise. But listen, let's talk about New Orleans. We had an opportunity to go there this year. We actually went for our first official road trip to New Orleans, Louisiana. We made some stops off in the panhandle of Florida, went on through Alabama and Mississippi, and then rolled right into New Orleans.
Yeah, we let the good times roll. We had a great time. And that's all that I wish I could say that one phrase that everybody says. Yeah. I just don't know it. But being on the ground in New Orleans was an incredible experience. The food, the people, the vibe was just awesome. Yeah,
it was a really cool road trip. I'm so glad that many of you suggested us doing these road trips. So glad that we started scheduling some of them out. And for me, New Orleans was a bucket list trip. I have been looking forward to it for a very, very long time, visiting New Orleans, and it really didn't disappoint. We stayed at one end of Bourbon Street. We stayed at the Hyatt. So, big ups to our friends John and Joe, who watch us all the time here on TWR, who gave us some great tips on New Orleans, one of them being the Hyatt right there at the end of Bourbon Street. So it was a great location. Had an awesome time staying at the Hyatt, just really good, and had an awesome time being right on Bourbon Street, right?
Yeah, it was great. That location for the hotel was great. It was within walking distance from most every place that we went. It was great. I
think we only took the car out once to go to. Well, no, we didn't not even go to Willie Mays, which I can't wait to tell you again about Willie Mays. Just an awesome meal that we had there. But I don't even think we took the car out while we were there.
We didn't.
But anyway, New Orleans. So when we first got there, we mentioned we were on Bourbon Street. So two guys like us, particularly a guy like me who is a lover of fine bourbons, one of the first things that we found our way into was a nice little bourbon establishment on Bourbon Street.
Yeah,
right?
It was
and
great.
There's a few of them.
There's several. There's the Bourbon Room. There's the Bourbon House. There's the Bourbon Bar. Probably I didn't see that one, but. It was great because it had a bar downstairs, and the reason that I wanted to go there was because it was there was a balcony area where you could sit and you could watch the people walk by, and we had a couple of great bourbons there, and it was just a great location, and we got to see up and down both sides of Bourbon Street, and right across the street from us there was a bar that had karaoke, and they had big screens that we could see through the windows, and it made for an interesting show.
There are some interesting folks. You can find characters in New Orleans, and particularly on Bourbon Street for sure. Right. One of the things that we did while we were there, obviously we were there for the Wine and Food Festival. You guys have already seen some of those videos, and we did the Royal Street Stroll, and evidently it doesn't take a lot to get a parade started in New Orleans.
Absolutely not.
They do parades there like Disney does fireworks. I mean, they kick off the parades there, and we saw some interesting characters during our Bourbon Street stroll. If you guys happen to catch that video, if you didn't, go back and take a look, because that parade was kind of interesting to say the least.
It was cool, and when I found out who it was the crew of the Cork.
Okay.
And so they have a long history with New Orleans, and it was really interesting to see the actual crew who were dressed up in their togas and their wine glasses and their beads. And I think one of the ladies wanted to come up and pet our microphone that does look like a squirrel or a pet rat, and she
Right.
wanted to pet it, and then I got beads because of it, so I was pretty grateful for that. But then all the tag-along people who just wanted to dress up and march along, and then the last guys were pulling not wheelbarrows, but pulling wagons, and they had coolers in them.
Additional provisions that
Right,
they may
provisions
need along the way.
So periodically in the parade, you'd hear wine, and they just open it up and they pass a bottle up, and it was
Right.
it was really interesting. It was really cool. I was very happy we got that on film.
And speaking of wine, we did have some really nice wine while we were there, but boy, we had some great food, didn't we?
Oh, the food was incredible. I think the bar was set for me when we went to Redfish Grill.
Yeah, that was our first night there, actually. And again, big ups to John and Joe, because one of the reasons we chose the Hyatt is because the Redfish Grill is actually not part of it, but right there, adjacent to the Hyatt, right in the Hyatt. I don't know. There's a hallway that you just stumble into the restaurant, walk into the restaurant, which is really good.
You could also stumble into the Hard Rock.
Yeah, so
they're connected.
Yeah, so the Redfish Grill was amazing. Had some great food there. The crab appetizer, the boudin balls that we had there, everything was just amazing. And of course, the redfish. That's one of the things that New Orleans is famous for is its redfish. So
it's great. It's a great atmosphere.
Yeah, really good.
It was cool because a lot of the wall decorations had different meanings, and they had one of the wall art pieces was a redfish that was a grill.
Right.
So we got some pictures of that too. So I'm sure that somebody is magically flying that picture in even as we speak.
Sure. And I've already mentioned Willie Mays to you. Willie Mays Scotch House, it was a bit of a hike to find it. Fortunately, the cab driver that we found did know where it was, which I would imagine most people in New Orleans do know where this restaurant is. But good fried chicken, John?
The best I've ever eaten, and which is disturbing my family. We grew up going to this one little place in Ohio.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own little place,
right?
And it's amazing. But the moment we tried Willie Mays, it was the best.
Yeah, you absolutely have to try Willie Mays. If you go to New Orleans, you don't want to leave without going there for sure. Just really, really amazing food. I had the catfish, and John and I kind of split up catfish and chicken. With the red beans, and I think you had mac and cheese with yours. Amazing how you remember meals, right? I don't remember what I ate at home before we left to come to Key West, but I can tell you what I had in New Orleans 2 months ago.
Right. Yeah, and they had a great piece of advice written on their little chalkboard out front. If there's a line, stand in it.
Right.
And it's a really interesting process. You stand in line, you wait. Someone will call you in, ask you how many people you have in your party, then they'll set you somewhere. And it is a machine, man. They just churn and burn there.
Right.
But it's totally worth it. But it's a little bit, like Rick said, it's a little bit of a hike.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes there's a wait. I mean, sometimes for lunch you can wait an hour to get in there easy. Yeah. We were fortunate the day we went in. The line we got in wasn't very long at all. And actually, our cab driver was, I think, happy to drop us off there because he went and got a table himself.
Yeah.
It's a local establishment that's been there for a long time. It survived Katrina. It actually didn't survive Katrina, but was rebuilt after Katrina and came back. And just an amazing place. Right. Amazing place to eat. We found some po' boys too.
We did. We should we tell them the story about how we found the po' boy?
Tell them the story. Joe and John, again, our friends will get a kick out of this because one of my goals was to go to another well-established restaurant. Just didn't realize how well established it really was.
Yes, we were on a trek to find Commander's Palace, and the first mistake of the few that we made on this specific trip is we didn't hail a cab because it was a little bit more of a haul than I think both of us expected.
No idea.
And Rick, and I know that just go with me on this. We both do run for distance, but I don't think either of us were anticipating the hike that we were on, and we finally got to the place, Commander's Palace, Mecca. We made it. And there's for lunch, and there's a sign on the door that says no shorts and no t-shirts. And we were both wearing shorts and t-shirts.
We were in New Orleans for a wine and food festival in the summer.
Yeah.
And I'm being a Florida boy, I pretty much think any Florida restaurant I should be able to get into with shorts, and most of them for lunch anyway. Most of them you can,
Yeah, absolutely.
But not Commander's Palace.
And so we heard the stories about the Hollywood actress that had tried to break that rule, and they just will not bend on that rule. It's a very fine dining establishment.
Right.
So we did what any normal, foodie traveler would do is we found some locals and we asked them where they would go eat, and they asked us what we wanted, and we were looking for po' boys.
Yeah.
So they sent us a few more blocks down the road, and we found, was it KC's? KJ's? JK's? We should have checked that.
JL's?
Yeah, I'm sure that I will be putting in the name of the establishment.
We'll figure that one out.
Yeah,
you know?
it was.
I may not remember the name of the restaurant we ate in, but I remember what we had. You know?
Yeah, we had combo. We had fried oysters and fried shrimp.
Yeah, half and halves. Yeah, they were good. They were good. So recommend that little place. And that was in another area of New Orleans. Like John mentioned, the hike that we had to go get there. That's called the Garden District of New Orleans, and it was just a really nice little eclectic bunch of shops. So you can go there and do some shopping, and got some great little restaurants there in addition to Commander's Palace. We never made it back to Commander's Palace. We said we would. We said we would try to, but it's definitely going to be one of my things to go back there for sure, to try Commander's Palace. In Commander's Palace, they were very gracious to us on social media and said, you know, they're very sorry we weren't able to get in because of our attire, but they do have their strict dress code. Suggested some other of their restaurants for us that we could go to, and it definitely invited us back if we could find the proper attire and the additional time, which we just did not have. You know,
unfortunately not. But there's always other days we can go back. Right. So that's the exciting part.
Yeah. And speaking of established places, we did make it to one that was definitely high up on my list, which is the Café du Monde. And they are famous for, well, I guess two things, but one thing more than anything else, which is their very fine beignets. And if you're not familiar with what a beignet is, you take some really good dough, drop it in some really hot oil, and you fry it up, and you dump an extreme amount of powdered sugar right on top.
I cannot believe how much sugar they put on top of those. And the funny thing is we went to another place for beignets, and they didn't quite use the amount of sugar. I think there was 2 pounds of sugar, powdered sugar, on top of my beignets, let alone Rick's.
Right. And I usually drink coffee black, but I was just so intrigued by this. I actually took some of the powdered sugar and put it in my very strong. Jimmy Buffett has a song that talks about how strong the coffee is. Coffee's too strong at Café du Monde. I think it just kind of rhymed, Jimmy. I'm not sure the whole thing there, but he does talk about that in one of his songs. So, but yeah, I had to dump some of that sugar in my coffee. I think it got on our camera. I know I got a picture of you with it, you know, on your face.
I couldn't help it.
I think it was a little staged, but you know, still
minorly staged. You'll see for yourself. Yeah. But it was great, and again, it's another experience where if you find a line, you better stand in it.
Now that was a line.
Yeah.
But that line gets extreme. We were pretty fortunate that day. There was just a few people ahead of us. By the time we walked out of that thing, it can literally wind around for a couple of blocks.
Yeah.
You know? So
we took
go early.
Yeah, we took a tour on an open air bus when we drove right by, and the line was down the block. And we just got lucky. And a little tip for you, if you do decide to go, it's cash only. Yep. They do not take credit cards or checks.
Right.
So, but there's an ATM available.
There is an ATM. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. And to finish out our food, the last night we were there, we went, unless I'm missing some restaurants that you want to mention, of course we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about how good the food was at the Wine and Food Festival, but you can watch that. That's its own video. But the last night we were there, since we were on Bourbon Street again, we did go to the Bourbon House, and they had a great food menu. But I got to say, the bourbon menu was bigger. It was a larger menu of bourbon offerings than it was of food.
Right. The thing that's so great about towns like New Orleans, here in Key West, Savannah, there's such a rich history, and the Bourbon House in New Orleans is no different. There's a lot of legacy to the house, and not only could you get fine bourbons there, a lot of different types of bourbons, incredible seafood, incredible food dishes, but you can also, they have an oyster bar, so you can go there, and if you don't feel like necessarily sitting down to a table or waiting for a table, you could go to the oyster bar and order, and they'll shuck them right in front of you. And they're some of the freshest oysters in New Orleans.
Yeah, they were really good. I think I had the redfish there again. It's real topped with some really good crab meat, and we shared a couple of great appetizers there. That was just awesome. So, if you're looking for a place on Bourbon Street, if you are or are not a bourbon aficionado or even a seafood lover, then you're going to love this restaurant. It's really good. But you know, many of the things, just like the Acme Oyster House, real close to it, many of these restaurants on Bourbon Street get busy. So you know, go early or be prepared to wait, but definitely wait because they're good.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
worth it.
You don't want to miss them. You don't want to miss them.
And be flexible.
Right.
You know, we walked in wanting to have dinner there, and we didn't really care where we sat. You could wait in a long line to eat in their formal dining area, but we sat in the bar area, which was really cool, and it was right on the window. We saw people going by. Just the same quality of service, and we didn't have to wait nearly as long.
Right. Had a couple cool breakfasts there. Don't recall the name of the little place where we had the sausage and biscuits, but it was really the gravy and biscuits and sausage was real good. And then the counter place that we sat at, who had lost the rights to their name, as I recall, you know. So we're stumbling now. We asked our concierge where we should eat, and gave us the name of the restaurant, not knowing that a month earlier they had lost rights to their name. So we're looking for the signage, but luckily John recognized the counter, and we went in and sat down, and it was kind of a neat place.
It was really cool. It's very 50s oriented, but again, it was a machine.
Right.
You came in, you sat down, you ordered, you ate, you left.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And was that a cash only place? They only took cash.
I think they took credit cards there. I think they did. But yeah, always be prepared. Ask before you go in, because you just never know. Like John said, a lot of these places they turn over a lot of people and whatnot, so you always kind of want to know these things. So just check. But Cafe Du Monde for sure. Bring cash. That's all they take. That's all they take. So we saw some great sights in New Orleans. We did a Cajun swamp buggy, but boat trip.
Yeah,
a blast.
Yeah, we survived.
We
survived. The alligators came 3-4 feet out of the water. That was scary.
Right.
The wild hog almost coming into the boat. If you haven't seen that video, it's towards the end of the video. That was pretty horrific because there was nothing between me and this wild pig except the camera. And the driver of the boat, right before we started, saying, "Hey, if the boat catches on fire or an alligator jumps in, I'm jumping out. You're on your own."
All right.
So Captain Troy,
and that was Cajun Encounters, right?
That was Cajun Encounters.
So thanks again, Cajun Encounters, for a great trip. No, they did not compensate us to say that. We just give you that recommendation right there because they were great. Troy was a great captain, and they ran a really good operation. We enjoyed spending the day with them. As John mentioned, we took an open air, kind of a double-decker bus trip around New Orleans, which gave us a lot of history of the city and showed us a lot of the historical landmarks and gave us a lot of backstory on New Orleans, which is just a rich town. #1 most haunted city in America, we found out, you know, and look for some haunted. Key West, we found out now, is the #4. We're not sure how they quantify this. We're still kind of out on all of this thing. If who is actually counting these ghosts or these haunts or whatever's going on, but New Orleans is a city with a great history.
Yeah, and if you're really into that kind of thing, there's some really great cemetery tours, ghost tours. You know, do some research and find one that fits for you, is age appropriate, and it's just a great place for that kind of thing. But not only were there the tours that we went on and the food was so incredible, the musicians, the street performers, were amazing.
Yeah, I remember that one 5-piece band or something we saw, you know, with the guy singing, and they had a dobro steel top guitar guy playing and fiddle and music all over town, you know. And the two girls, we were standing in line to get food at Royal Street Stroll. And the violin and guitar playing, two girls were playing, just amazing, good stuff.
They were playing a Lord tune. It was just really, really cool. And if you go back and watch that Royal Street Stroll, all of the music in that video was the street performers. So we were very lucky to be able to pull the music from there and use that. And it was really cool. I love the gentleman that we met while we were standing in line. And he was kind of grumpy at first. He was just having a bad day. And a buddy of his was there, and we got to talking with him, and he played
Van Morrison.
He played a Van Morrison tune, and it was outstanding.
Yeah, it was good.
And so there's a lot of really cool things like that. We would be remiss, though, if we didn't talk about some of the drinking establishments.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. The Carousel
Bar, world famous. It is on the National Registry of Historic Places, I think.
Oh yeah.
You know, so but just neat. Never walked into a bar that turned. You owe it to yourself to do that.
That was a little bit of information that I was not privy to.
Yeah, the bartender, actually, I was joking with the bartender, and I said, wait a second, you know, we seem to move. And he said, yeah, those people are following you, the people that were seated next to us. So, I'm sure he tells that joke numerous times a week, if not a day. But yeah, really nice bar. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, that's one thing about New Orleans is all of the buildings, the houses, the hotels, everything just has such history, and it's just the architecture there is incredible. You know, the inside of this hotel is just beautiful. So yeah, just gorgeous, gorgeous place.
And it's like a lot like US. They use the pre-existing buildings and create great spaces. Pat O'Brien's, which is another great place that we had.
Got to go to Pat's and have a hurricane.
That's right. We had a hurricane there. They have some really cool architecture with the flames and the water.
Right.
They had a couple of really cool places there inside Pat O'Brien's that you can check out. Plus a restaurant. We never made it to the restaurant.
I don't think we did. I don't think we had any food there. But I think we're going to have to go back. You know, that's
absolutely.
One thing about I think certain cities, like, you know, it's been since the 1980s since Leslie and I visited Key West, but, you know, in another life before kids, we used to spend a lot of time in the Keys, scuba diving and just hanging out down here and enjoying this laid-back lifestyle. And I think there's certain cities that once you visit them, they call to you. You know, you just got to go back to them. For me, New Orleans is definitely one of those cities. I enjoyed it. I thought it was some of the nicest, warmest people for a tourist town. You know, not everybody loves tourists. You know, but you know, so I would just encourage you here when you go to a place, try not to be a tourist. Try to be a traveler, and you know, get into the culture. Find those little places like. You know, sure, Pat O'Brien's, it's a tourist trap, right? They bring busloads of people in there, and they have those hurricanes stacked up, ready to sell them. But yet, you know, if you dive into other places, go upstairs in a bourbon room, you know, and enjoy a nice glass of bourbon or, you know, an iced tea, you know. So whatever you're into, dive into the culture and enjoy those places, and you know. The people there, despite how many tourists, and I'm sure they welcome the tourists because they need the tax dollars and whatnot, but you know, still friendliest people ever. And if you take time and talk to people, there are such, you know, it's a rich history and a great people to talk to.
Right.
You know, and you
absolutely.
enjoy it.
And they took great care of us.
Oh yeah, they really did.
And we would be remiss if we can go back and talk about the New Orleans wine and food experience.
Yeah.
And if you do get a chance to ever go to New Orleans during a food and wine festival or any type of festival, to be honest with you, maybe not so much Mardi Gras. That'd be a different story.
I tell you, Bourbon Street was busy on Saturday night in off season. I couldn't imagine it during Mardi Gras.
I can't either. And I'm not a crowds person, so I would not enjoy that very much. The thing about the food and wine experience in New Orleans was it was really a concentrated opportunity to taste and sample the amazing smells and the food and the wines from New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we got to meet a lot of the chefs and to see to find out where they cook, and it was really awesome. It was just a great event. Hopefully we'll get a chance to go back.
Yeah.
And if you get a chance to go to the food and wine experience in New Orleans, I highly encourage it.
We'd love to meet you there next year, actually, you know, and hang out with you and let you tell us what you think about some of the food and wine in New Orleans, and what do you think about some of those spots. I'm looking forward to going back and hitting some of the spots that we missed and just didn't have enough time to go to, you know. Definitely looking forward to going back to Willie Mae's. It's got to be one of the best meals, most interesting places I've been to this year, for sure. Definitely looking forward to going back to Redfish Grill and, you know, finding out some new local places. Carousel Bar, definitely a good one.
Yeah, Cafe
sure.
du Monde.
Oh man, yeah.
We didn't even try the muffalettas.
You know, I mean, muffalettas is an interesting thing. To me, I know it's a New Orleans staple, but you know, it's still just a cold cut sandwich. You know,
True.
So, you know, po' boys, that's right up my alley. You take some good seafood and fry it and stick it on a big old piece of French bread.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But beignets for sure. For sure. And the gumbo. We didn't even mention some of the gumbo we had.
I had gumbo at the Bourbon House, and it was insane.
Yeah.
So good.
So, yeah, I feel some jambalaya and gumbo calling us back to New Orleans for next year, for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And the best part for me, honestly, and this is the God's honest truth, the best part for me was being able to experience it with you.
Yeah. Because
of your ties and your love and passion for Jimmy Buffett, and knowing how important that city was for him.
Sure.
It was really neat. We would go someplace and Rick would break out into lyrics of different songs, like you did with the Cafe du Monde, The Coffee's Too Strong.
Right.
And
that's not going to happen at all in any of these Key West episodes. I can promise you we have none of that coming up. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah. And it was just really cool, especially to be with somebody that's so knowledgeable and passionate about Jimmy Buffett, and connecting that with, I dig Jimmy Buffett a lot, and I learned a lot, but it was really awesome to be able to walk the streets and, to hear about this street or this place and connect it to the song. There's a deep appreciation for me.
Sure.
So that was one of my favorite things about the trip.
Right, yeah, and we're gonna have to do some of that for you guys here in Key West. And again, don't want to give too many spoiler alerts because I don't know when y'all see some of these episodes. We record them, and sometimes they get shuffled and mixed up and out of order, as they get displayed, because something will happen and we'll show an episode that we thought, wow, we want to get this one in. But we might have a few guests that come to visit y'all in Key West. That we're hoping to get for you guys. So yeah, I mean, that to me, that's what makes a destination come alive. Whether it's a Disney connection, or whether it's this thing when you go on, even Adventures by Disney, you see a lot of that happening when you do things like that. So that when you can put together some of the people that lived in these places and that were important to them, or were important to history. That's what makes travel, and that's what travel's supposed to do to you.
Right.
So that's a real good thing there. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed hanging out with you there too, and getting to experience it. So. All right, guys. Well, I think Key West might be calling. We've talked about New Orleans quite enough for this show. If you didn't get to see all of our New Orleans episodes, we've definitely got some cool ones. You can see more about our Cajun Encounter swamp trip. You can see a lot more about the Royal Street Stroll and our grand tastings that we did while we were there. The double-decker bus tour, we've even got that one out there for you. So we've got a lot of our New Orleans episodes. So if you want to learn more, this is just kind of an overview. Dive deep on those Travel with Rick episodes, and you can find out what's really going on. So we've got to go work on some more Key West stuff. Got some cool things to show you while we're here. We definitely got looking forward to you getting to see these episodes, but we definitely wanted to take time and tell you, get this New Orleans overview done before too many more trips come up, right?
Yep, absolutely.
We've got a lot more coming up for you this year on Travel with Rick. And Sean mentioned, we're hoping to go back to New Orleans. And again, not knowing the order, but Food and Wine's coming at Disney as well, so lots coming up. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. If I haven't told you lately, we appreciate so much you guys taking time to watch these episodes. It means so much to us. Hope you're enjoying them. Look forward to your comments. We appreciate you guys sharing with us where you want to go. These road trips came in large part to you guys suggesting that we do things like this, and we're bringing a little bit more than the Disney stuff, and so that's why we're out here on the road bringing these great episodes. Hope y'all enjoy them. As we always say, we appreciate so much your comments. They're like oxygen, and thanks a lot for watching. Look forward to seeing you right back here, guys, on another episode real soon. John, my friend, see you.
Thank you.
My friends, see you. Thanks for watching, guys.
At Kingdom Magic Vacations, we believe that life should be measured out in memories. For over 17 years, Kingdom Magic Vacations has specialized in making vacation dreams come true for families visiting Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, and Adventures by Disney. Kingdom Magic Vacations has been honored as an authorized Disney vacation planner, and that means we are recognized by Disney as a leader in planning magical vacations to Disney destinations. Our knowledge and experience allows our travel professionals to custom tailor your Disney vacation and make them truly magical. We know that each moment you spend on vacation creates a memory that lasts a lifetime. You can start planning your magical Disney vacation by visiting kingdommagic.com today.
Well, hey guys, thanks a lot for watching this week's show. We're here at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Actually, this is Bourbon House. And yeah, it's two real giraffes walking out there on the savannah. This happens to be a savannah view, which gives you, you guessed it, a savannah view. And there are live animals right around. This morning, zebras right out there. Wildebeest. Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's a great place to stay. We just want to take a minute and remind you, if you have not done so, up there in the upper right hand corner, drop in your email address. That way you'll be signed up for our feed. You'll be the first to know whenever we put something new here on Travel with Rick. If you really want to find out what's going on, check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/travelwithrick. That's where we put our question of the week, as well as you can interact with other Travel with Rick friends, find out where we're going, where we've been, and what we think about some of the places we visited. Also, if you're on iTunes or YouTube, yeah, of course, we've got channels for you over there as well. Subscribe to them if you wish, and be sure to rate us if you consume those types of media. We'd really appreciate it. Well, listen, you never know where we're going to be next week. We could be right back here in Orlando or halfway around the world. So check us out right back here, find out where we're going next. So long, everybody.